Hark the bardic paladin, who sings and plays again. He tells the tales of glory and weaves a magic story. He'll join you at your table and ask you to share a fable. Heroes of humble origin, villains who must be fought again. No matter their skill or prowess, the people in life are countless. So we pray you heed our request. Enjoy this tale of sidekicks and side quests. Episode 16, Clocky Woodman, the Elven Timesmith. Welcome to Sidekicks and Side Quests, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that helps to put humans back into humanity and breathe life into your campaign NPCs with backstory and bravado. That's right, we're building a world, one character at a time. I am your host, Kurt Krenwelge, the Bardic Paladin, and I'll be joining Dallas Miller's table in the Levitating Platter. So, short off the heels of my previous guest, Ariel, you came clamoring over to my desk and wanted to hop on the podcast. So, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, my name's Dallas Miller. I'm another UX designer, which stands for user experience, if Ariel didn't clear that up before.
Okay.
So we really just kind of combine, business goals, user needs, and kind of throw that all together in a mix and try to create very innovative products for the future.
Awesome. So, do you currently or have you ever played Dungeons & Dragons before?
Yes. So I started D&D when I was probably 8 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Old school.
Yeah, and I had almost no idea what I was doing. And then I tried it again when I was about 18 years old. Okay. And I had no idea what I was doing. But then, I'd say about 5 or 6 years ago, we picked up Pathfinder, and I got to be the GM on that and quickly learned the game through trial by fire. So
that's cool. That's awesome. So when you were originally playing it before, was it like 3.5, 4, 5e?
Oh, man.
I know 5e is the newest one that's come out, and I started back in 2008 on 4th edition before I made the transition over to 5th edition. So
yeah,
what editions have you played?
Yeah, it must have been probably 3.5. It was the one with the brown book that just looked so old.
Was like the little booklets?
Oh, no. It was
not original D&D.
Right. Yeah, I think it was. It must have been either 3 or 3.5, whichever one that Pathfinder was based off of. I think it was that same one.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you still currently running any games, or are you on hiatus? Or
yeah, it's been, I'd say, about 2 years since we had our last session. Kind of ended with some fatalities, and then and then we just really never got around to playing again for some reason. Maybe I just ruined the experience for everyone. I'm not sure.
Well, hopefully being on this podcast will inspire you. You'll gather your friends again, and you'll give it another shot. So since you've had experience with Dungeons & Dragons, do you have a favorite NPC? So who is it, and why are they your favorite?
Yeah, so would you consider villains that don't attack people to be NPCs?
They're a non-player character by definition.
Cool. So we had one in our game, and there was this really cool, not to toot my own horn, but there was this really cool little piece that I added in where I would go around the room, and there was this like siren, succubus kind of villain. Okay. And so all the characters were stranded in this castle. I would go to each of the players and kind of whisper something that they couldn't tell the other players about what was going to happen and kind of like how to defeat this individual. Okay. And then they would kind of have to put clues together, not necessarily telling them black and white, but work as a team to try and defeat this person. So I thought that was...
So did this siren have a particular name? Or do you not remember?
I don't remember her name exactly. She was kind of brought in from like the king's castle, and But yeah, I don't remember her name exactly.
Okay. And so that she was your favorite because you got to actually go up to each of your players and whisper something to them to give them a clue, but they couldn't outright tell the other players what it was.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's cool. You got to kind of conspire with each of your players at the table and then watch them try and figure it out.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. Do you have a favorite side quest, and why is it your favorite side quest?
Yeah, so this was probably one of the harder ones that I was trying to think of. The difficulty here is that whenever I do play games or even watch TV shows, I get very distracted by side quests, so I always stick to just the main mission.
Okay.
However, when I was playing the latest Borderlands, there were some. They're not really jump quests; they're more like exploration quests. I think I enjoyed those probably the most, where I'm out to find 7 gears or whatever throughout the land, and so really just that exploration part of games I really enjoy.
Okay, so Borderlands 3, just exploring the world,
right?
And so not taking a little time to smell the roses and not push through the main storyline so fast.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. And then to round out the interview section, what are you passionate about and why?
So I think the thing I'm most passionate about is being able to just teach people general things. So whether that's I think that's why I love the DM or GM kind of role, is that I'm able to teach these players and get them excited about something, but it also pertains to just everyday use. So if I get to tell someone about my job and really expose them to new things, I get really excited about those types of events. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, now that we've gotten to know Dallas a little bit better, let's go ahead and make an NPC.
Woo!
All right, so before we turn the mic on, you said that you had an idea for a character and you kind of wanted to improvise a little bit. So I guess let's work our way down the list of questions. What is the character's name?
So this is going to sound ridiculous, but that's just the way I do things, I guess. First name is Clocky.
Clocky, okay.
Last name, Woodman.
Clocky Woodman. Okay. What is the ancestry for Mr. Woodman?
We'll go Mr. this time. Yeah.
Mr. Okay.
So I was thinking Wood Elf.
Wood Elf.
Go with their last name, Woodman.
Okay. Clocky Woodman, Wood Elf. Okay, perfect. What is Clocky's job or role in society?
So they are fascinated by time.
Okay.
And so I might be jumping too far ahead here, but they kind of stumbled upon, not just using the sun as a form of time, but kind of creating the first clock ever.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, exploring the realm of... Well, I think in Critical Role, it's kind of described as Dunamancy, and which now, that's super cool. Critical Role technically now is D&D canon. Cool. Wizards of the Coast is publishing a thing for them, so maybe not Dunamancy, but just exploring time, building the first clock ever in the world. Okay, that's interesting. So how old is Woodman then?
I'd say he's probably... He's a little young for an elf, maybe like 110. Is that a pretty young age for elves?
Yeah, I think elves reach maturity at about 100 years of age. They're considered to no longer be a child once they reach 100.
Let's go with that. He's a young, just innovative person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's describe the physical appearance of Clocky Woodman.
So we'll say he's about 6'3", kind of a slender man.
Hopefully he has a face and not goes around terrorizing people.
So his facial features, he's got some dark skin actually.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a pointy nose and some eyebrows that just, you always think he's surprised to tell you something.
Okay, cool. Any particular way that he dresses or carries himself?
If you think of almost like a Harry Potter robe kind of situation. So he's got, this just one garment that kind of just goes over everything. And that way he doesn't have to go out and buy clothes. He can focus on building and continuing to invent this clock. So he just wears the same robe, kind of like a Steve Jobs mindset.
Okay.
The same outfit every time.
The patented turtleneck.
Yeah, exactly.
So interesting as we're learning more about this clock. I was going to say we're not heading into Zybourne Clock territory, are we?
I'm unfamiliar with Zybourne.
Yeah, it was. Oh, that's a whole rabbit hole on the internet. Since Clocky's interested in building this elusive first ever clock, whether it's gonna do something with time itself or it's just magic or intricate gears, I don't know. I'm just interested to learn more about it. So would you say then that's the valuable item in his possession is literally this master clock that he's been building for the last 100 years or so?
Yeah, it definitely is. Yep.
Okay. Oh, and then I accidentally skipped a question. We'll go back. Describe Clocky with 3 adjectives.
So I'd say precise, stubborn, and a little mischievous.
Precise, stubborn, and mischievous. Interesting combination.
Yeah. So I guess, it's just, someone who kind of likes to meddle in a lot of things, but, when they set their mind to something, they're going to see it all the way through, with that precision kind of mindset. Like they're going to, just be able to really finalize on whatever it is that they're headed towards, whether that's good or bad.
Okay. For player characters, when they encounter Clocky Woodman, what is the particular side quest that Clocky's going to offer to them?
So I think, him being this mischievous person, but still, has his work to attend to, he would like to get some more insider knowledge on any of the other village people and whether or not that they have ever thought about time. So kind of getting the characters to go around, meet the different townsfolk, and just deliver that insider knowledge to him so that he can kind of capitalize on this whole time and clock situation.
Okay, so he lives in a town, a civilized town, so he's not like with his own people necessarily.
Right, yeah, kind of like in the forest, I guess. He would have this, collective of individuals who all have their different professions, and so kind of meeting and greeting with those folks to learn more. Okay.
And so what is going to be the reward in completing Clocky's mission? The player characters go around this community of other, I suppose, like-minded individuals. They gather all the information about them. They come back to Clocky and, report what they find out. What's the reward that Clocky's going to give them?
So I think that it would be kind of cool if he would create small, almost like pocket watches, like the first ever pocket watches.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and so he can hand those to the players to maybe aid them in tracking their time a little more sufficiently than just by day and night.
Oh, wow, that's super cool. Yeah, or unless you take that feat where you're just like, I know what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
And then what is going to be the consequence of failure or refusing the call? The player characters stumble upon Clocky. They're like, this guy's weird, or he wants us to go spy on people. No, I'm not really interested in that. What's going to be the consequence for the result of that?
So I think if you were to deny the quest, this is kind of silly, but instead of him asking you to go out and spy on these other individuals, he will now follow you around for some amount of time and spy on you and kind of how you behave throughout the day. And, for maybe a matter of weeks, he just kind of adventures out. But, being this stubborn individual, he'll go until he gets what he needs, which might just be, kind of researching why is it that you didn't take the test or take this quest, and just learning more about what people do during the day.
Right.
So kind of just a creepy little guy.
Interesting. So kind of like not evil, but not good, just kind of like his own little force of chaos. And remind me again, the reason why he's wanting the player characters to spy on the other people is because he's been so focused on perfecting and building this clock that he doesn't even know who's around him, or...
Yeah, and kind of just getting, maybe other people know about things related to time, and so he would like to take that kind of knowledge and create almost like a little data pool of just different research that he doesn't have the time to go out and...
Oh, I see. So, like, if someone has a book on time,
exactly,
be like, hey, if there's any way you can grab that book for me, or like, oh, this guy, he knows a little bit about time magic, and learn from him. So he's not having to leave his research necessarily, but like you were saying, if the player characters ignore him, blow him off, he just kind of gets incensed and is like, well, I'm going to follow you and figure out what you know.
Right.
And then it's just kind of like kind of like Smeagol, just kind of following along, not really interacting with the players, but just kind of watching and taking notes until the players are like, dude, why are you following us?
Exactly, yep.
Okay, awesome. Were you wanting to take a stab at any of these other optional questions that I had? Or?
Yeah, sure. Let's try it.
All right. What are the goals and motivations for Clocky, and how do they affect his personality?
So I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but really his main goal is just to be the inventor of this time capturing device. So it may not be that he's 100% through with it. He might still have some development to do in it, but that'd be his impact that he would create on the world is the invention. So
okay. And because of that, it affects his personality where he's just like, hey, I'm precise, I'm stubborn, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to do it.
Yep, just kind of hones into that one task, and aside from basic necessities to live, that is his reason for living.
Okay, let's see. The next question kind of pertained to like tone of voice, accents. Like, does he have different ways of talking with different people, or how does he just have a general voice that he speaks in, or anything like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he has a different kind of accent that any of the other villagers would have, but he definitely, when it comes to speaking with people, is a little more upfront and bold, a little crass, just because he doesn't have the social skills, not being out in the world for so long. Mm-hmm. He's a little more rude.
Okay. And then has Clocky made an impact on the world, and how has he shaped the local area? And does he have any current problem that he's working on that prevents him from being a bigger player on the stage?
So I think he's almost there to creating that impact on the world. People in the village mostly just see him as, just like the little old man in the shadows. Well, not old actually, but
right, by elf standards he's not old, but humans are like, oh man, that guy's been there forever.
Right. And so he just kind of keeps to himself. No one really says anything, but I think what could end up propelling him into like a more major role is that invention, and how he could take it to help out some of these heroes that are on their adventures. Interesting.
Well, I think we've got a pretty good history developed for Clocky, so now let's head into the random encounter. Dun dun. Alright, so this is the part of the show where we attempt to do a roleplay exercise. So I'm wondering, with two DMs here in the room, as it were, perhaps we could collaborate, set a little scene, and then I think obviously you'll be playing the part of Clocky. And then I believe I will be the character Duncan, who seems to show up in a lot of these random encounters. He's just an adventurer, homicidally brave, willing to do most anything, so he helps propel most of the random encounters forward.
Very cool.
So how about I let you go first to kind of set the scene of where Clocky's community and shop is.
Okay, sure. So setting the scene, I guess we'll be in his home. So we got this. He actually lives in a tree.
Okay.
Giant tree. It's a little burnt on the edges, because he doesn't take very good care of it. Whenever you enter inside, you'll see tons of different lanterns that have been posted around the inside of this tree. Lots of books, lots of papers just thrown about. Very messy, almost hoarder-like. And Clocky will just be sitting at the same desk that he's sat in for years and years, just continuing to kind of twiddle with his gears and gadgets.
And so coming into the scene, Duncan, having come off his last adventure of, I believe it was subduing the undead goblin burial mound for a certain mortician, he stumbles onto the next community, and he sees this community of houses built up against these trees and these halfling hills and everything, and he sees this gigantic tree, and it kind of grabs him by surprise. And so he sees that there's a little sign that has like clocks and gear work on, and he's thinking, perhaps this establishment will have some much needed magic items that I'm in need of. And so, cha-ching, cha-ching, he opens the door and steps in, and he takes into view all these, the hoarder appearance. He sees like various gears and machinations and all kinds of devices hanging on the walls, and he'll just kind of like, wow, this place is quite large on the inside and full of wondrous devices. Oh, hello there, sir. I didn't mean to intrude upon your work. My name is Duncan, and I was hoping that perhaps you had some magic items or interesting gizmos for me to purchase.
Well, Duncan, I believe you are disturbing me, as the sign does clearly say closed outside. But
Oh, it does? I didn't see such a sign. I apologize.
no worries. But now that you're here, I believe I do need your assistance with something.
Oh, you do? Well, by my charge, it is, rude for me not to accept any quest put before me, so please do continue, good sir.
Well, that's great, because we just had 4 adventurers here who declined my quest.
Oh.
I'm unfortunate to say that I've been following them for some time.
Oh, really?
That's right. Here, hold this gear.
Okay. He holds a strange gear in his hand.
Now I need you to take this gear
Okay.
around the town.
Okay.
Show the gear to all the people and elves that you come into contact with,
Okay.
and ask them if they've seen this before.
And that's all I have to do.
That's right. And he pulls out a small pocket watch on a chain.
Oh, what is that? I don't believe I've ever seen one of these before.
And he starts to almost hypnotize.
As Duncan's head starts following the swing of this device.
Yeah. And you will do this for me, is that right, Duncan?
He kind of shakes his head and he's like, but of course, easy enough.
And so Clocky just shoves the stopwatch back into his pants as he sees that it's clearly not hypnotizing Duncan. Well, that'll be great. Carry on, or do you need anything else?
No. I guess if I'm going to be getting one of those, what is that device, by the way? What does it do?
It clocks time.
Clocks
Dun,
And scene. That's good enough.
It clocks time. That's the best I can come up with there.
Clockstoppers.
Yeah.
There you go. I guess now we head into our final thoughts. So what did you think of this particular experience?
I actually had one more thing.
Oh, okay.
I would like to just comment on how Clocky almost has the exact same voice as Duncan.
Oh.
So there's that.
Oh, okay.
We talked in the both of us talked in that kind of just expressive. Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
I just kind of have like a
alike.
generic voice for Duncan.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I had to comment on that.
So here in the final thoughts, I just like to get my guests' feedback and do a vibe check and see if how they thought their experience was and everything. So what did you think about kind of diving back into the Dungeons and Dragons world and terminology a little bit?
Yeah, it was really cool. Obviously, you can see I'm a little rusty as I stumble upon my words and who my character even is. But yeah, it's really fun. I actually forgot to add this in, but I picked up the D&D Essentials Kit, I think is what it's called.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to try to get Skylar, my girlfriend, back home to run her first campaign. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, we can't wait to hear how it goes, and maybe even after Skylar's had a chance to play, maybe she'll want to guest on the show and make up an NPC.
Oh, I bet.
Awesome. And before we go into the outro of the show, was there anything that you wanted to plug, whether it's a project you're working on or maybe there's something cool that you really like and you just kind of want to give it a plug here right at the end of the show before we go?
Well, I think the only thing I could really plug is I do paintings and drawings outside of work. So
Cool.
if you guys would like to check that out.
Yeah,
you can,
for sure.
Yeah, you can visit my Instagram. It's just instagram.com/salad_TX, like Texas.
Salad, Texas?
Yeah, and that's salad with 2 L's, so it's basically just my name backwards.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Salad.
Salad.
Yep.
Slods. Oh no, slods.
But yeah, other than that, just give money to people in need, animals, and all that.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you for being a guest on my show. I really appreciate you taking the initiative and coming up and being like, hey, when am I going to be on the show? So this was great.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. I'll keep an eye out for more individuals who need to be here, that I think need to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Sidekicks and Side Quests. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast through Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Overcast, or feel free to save the RSS feed to use the app of your choice. Visit our website, https://sidekicksandsidequests.com for links, write-ups of the NPCs, and to learn more about the podcast. To stay up to date and share your fan creations, you can like and follow the podcast on social media by searching for @SideKQPodcast on Facebook and Twitter. The podcast is also on Reddit, so join our subreddit community at r/SideKQPodcast to share your art, stories, discussions, and commentary. If you'd like to hail the bard, send an email to sidekicksandsidequests, all one word, @gmail.com. I ask that you please leave an honest review on iTunes to help spread the word about the show. Sidekicks and Side Quests is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, meaning I'm not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast. Copyright Wizards of the Coast, LLC. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you at the pub next time. Bar to rock on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4!